Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another installment when we talk about Google Apps for Education. The next subject we're going to talk about is Gmail, and we're going to give you an overview of what Gmail does along with some tips and tricks. So jumping right into it, Gmail, most of you might have a personal Gmail address or have heard of Gmail before. If you have never used it before, it's just another emailing app. It's come with 15 gigabytes as a personal Gmail. That also includes your Drive and your Google Plus services. But when you are with Google Apps for Education, unlimited storage. So if you've ever had Gmail or if you've ever had emails come through and they're large emails and sometimes you have to clean out your inbox or clean out your mail account, with Gmail and Google Apps for Education, it is unlimited storage. So let's pop right into it. You may have seen a lot of local high schools or colleges going to Gmail. You wouldn't know it if you looked at it. So for example, there might be an email address that says john.doe@akronschools.com. Now that is just a made up school address, but I know a bunch of the local school districts in Ohio have jumped into Gmail and the Google Apps for Education suite. So again, it is unlimited storage. There's a lot of different cool tricks we can do with it to filter and to custom label. And so we'll show you some of those here in a few seconds. You could store unlimited contacts, and there's a lot of other great things here. So the ability to create an alias is also a cool part, that if you had a long email address and you wanted to shorten it, you could create an alias. Or if you wanted to have principal@akronschools.com or admissions@akronschools.com, you could make groups within that 4 or 5 different people could be emailed when emailing principal@akronschools.com. So again, let's jump right into it here. So next up we have inside of Gmail, a lot of the common questions are how to find lost emails. I think one of the toughest things as a school administrator or a teacher is getting hundreds of emails each week and trying to be able to keep up with them. So a few things that we're going to do is look at how to find them. So I'm going to jump over to my Gmail right now. Inside of Gmail, there is a search box up top. And inside of the search box, you could go through and type in the following prompts to find them. So for example, from, if we type in the word from and colon, you'll be able to find all emails from a specific sender. So for example, let's try that. If we want to type in from, we'll look at the last person who emailed me, from Robin Holden, we would be able to find all the emails that she sent me. If I typed in the word from, and let's type in a name, we'll type in Chris. These are all emails that I've received from a person named Chris. In that, you could also do the word to. So these are any emails that you have sent to this person. So to a Robin, these are all of my emails that have went to her. So looking at the ways to search, if you put in the word from or to with the colon, if you fill out an email address, you'll be able to find those. Now, if we combine those together and said, I want to see all emails from Robin to, and if you type in the word me, it knows it's emailing me. These are only emails that Robin has sent me, have not, or that it only went to me. Now, why does this work? If you are ever in an email thread with maybe someone who replies all, if you send an email and they reply all, it's going to go to you, but it's also going to go to many other people. But let's say in that case, we said from Robin, and from Robin, we would be able to see all emails from her, and maybe she replied all. But again, if I type in from Robin to me, it's only one-on-one, my email to Robin, back and forth. So from and to are probably 2 of the most frequently used searches. You also could type in the word subject. So for example, if I had the word subject, I'm going to type in Google. Any that has the word Google in the subject line will come through. So all of these different Google videos or Google emails, anything with the word subject and the word Google shows up. So if I wanted to have the subject Scouts in Boy Scouts, so anything that says Scouts in the subject line will also be searched there. So subject is also another one that I use a lot. Another cool one is has attachment. So if I type in the word has :attachment, these will bring back all emails that actually have an attachment associated with them. You could use this as well. You could say from Robin, and let me go back here real quick. If we want to say from Robin has attachment, you will see all of the emails from Robin that also have an attachment. Now, in this case, Robin has never sent me an attachment in an email. So it's just another way to filter your searches to find out, who sent what, if you're really looking for, an email. And if you've been using Google Apps for Education for a while, as time goes on, you're going to have thousands and thousands of emails to be able to sort back from the beginning of time. These are some ways to be able to find those. And perhaps the biggest one that I use a lot would be the quotes. So if I typed in quotes and I wanted to put in Google, it will bring back every email that has the word Google in it, whether it's the body or the subject. It has Google in it. It's bringing back every single email. So within the search function, if you type in the word, or if you type in Scouts inside of that, it'll bring back every email that has something with Scouts in that. So there are a lot of cool ways to search within Gmail. Those are some of them. And of course, you could still go in and just type in various things. If you want to type in just the word Google, it brings back a lot of results. But if you want to really narrow down your Gmail, these are some ways to do it. So if you click on the link here, you'll be able to open up and find all kinds of other ways to do it. But I've noticed that these have been the most popular and easy ways to find Gmails. Unread versus read. This is another one. Is as a teacher and as an administrator, I want to go into, I want to see all of my unread emails first. So if I click on the settings up in the gear icon over here on the right, and I go down to settings, and I go to my inbox once it loads up here. If I go to my tab that says inbox type, most personal Gmails, it comes as default. Sometimes the district you're in sets it up in a different way. But if I go to unread first, if this is an option for yours, and you hit save, it will bring every email that is unread. All of these emails may be in spam or somewhere else. All of these are unread. And why is this something that I want to have for my school email? Well, for example, let's just open up one of these Under Armour emails that I have. If I open an email, so let's go back to the email inbox, you'll see it's gray. And if I refresh the inbox, it will now go down to the everything else. It's not, it's already been read. But let's say I want to go back here and make this unread. If I have thousands of emails in my inbox and I now make this unread, it now goes back to the top. So if I get an email from a teacher or an administrator and I need to be able to, or a parent too, I need to be able to see it first thing in the morning. Maybe I check it from my phone at 10 o'clock at night. I mark them as unread. So it all goes back to my inbox at the top. So all the unread are up top, everything else is down below. Now for my personal email, I like it the way it comes, but that's something I think that you guys could go through and make that, because in my school email, that's definitely something that helps me. Moving on to the next one, we have labels. Labels are basically like folders. If you've ever used Outlook or some of the other Hotmails and things, labels are basically folders, but you can actually have different labels for emails. You could have multiple emails, multiple labels through emails. So it's kind of a way to tag things, so to speak. So for example, some of the things I've used it, some of the labels I've used at my school email or budget or benefits or tech department marketing, things that I want to be able to set up so I can see not only what they're based on, but who they're from. So for example, on my left-hand side here, I have various labels set up. So I was a football official, so all my emails that pertain to football officiating, they are in this label. I'm a Cub Scout leader, all my Cub Scout stuff goes to this label. Google Master's Program, et cetera, et cetera. So if I wanted to set up a new label, I click on More. I go down and hit Create New Label. And I can put in here Test Gmail Label for the time being, and I can create it. And you'll see it pop up here on the left-hand side. So you have the Test Gmail Label. Let's make it a nice bright color. And maybe we'll pick, I don't know, maybe orange. So for example, I have anything that I want to label as a Test Gmail label, it will now be in orange. So for example, if I wanted to highlight this one, go up to the tag that has email comes in, it is now labeled as that. So if I go back to my folder or label, this will be, once I get there, and that's taking a second. Once I click on this label, it will be the only email in there. So if I go through, and now you'll see this is the email inside there. If I were to go through my Google one, it would have everything that I've labeled under my Google stuff for my Google trainer groups. If I go to my football one, it'll show all the football videos and emails that I have in that label. So again, labels are a form of a folder, and I'll show you how they really are cool here in a second when I talk about filtering. But any email that you get, you can label it whatever you want. So in this case, I've made a couple test accounts. Now, the next thing I want to show you is something called allow you to manage the flow of incoming messages. So if you get an email from one of your fellow teachers, or maybe you get it from your principal or superintendent, and you want to be able to mark it right away, label it as superintendent emails or as whoever's emails, you can go through and set up a filter and tell it to do things. So for example, let's go back to my settings, my gear icon on my settings. And if you click on filters and blocked addresses, already set up. But let's say I wanted to create a new filter, this little pop-up. And let's say I wanted to go through here, and we will find my wife here and we'll set one up for her. So we have my label or her email address. I can create a filter with this search. So anything from her, let me go back there and show it again. Anything from this email will automatically be filtered what I want it to do with it. So for example, let's say I want to apply the label. This is the one I always check. Anything from my wife, I don't really have a label for her. Let's create a new one. And let's say we'll call it wifey, and we'll hit create. So anytime she sends me a new or an email, it will automatically be tagged with the label wifey. I'm going to always mark it important, and I'm going to star it, and then I'm going to apply it to anything in the past, and I'm going to hit create filter. You're going to see a new label over here called wifey. So all of the different emails that I've received from her are now going to be in the wifey folder, and see how they're all in there. So anything that she sends me will be marked with that filter just based on, or marked with that label just based on that filter. So anything that she sends me and it goes to my inbox, it'll automatically be tagged with that label because of the filter. And I think in a school setting, anytime your principal emails you, you might want to set up a filter from that principal or a superintendent, or if there are other teachers or people that you want to label in there. The filters are a great way to help clean up your inbox. So the next thing we're going to talk about are labs. And one of the labs that they just recently made a feature on Google, and I think this is one of the coolest ones. I show people, and I can tell by the raise of the hands or the smiles, how many people have sent an email, and as soon as you send it, you're like, oh no, I forgot to do this, or I forgot to do that. Well, there's a feature that if you go into settings, down in the middle, you have something called Enable Undo Send. You'll see it here in the middle. If you check on that box and you tell it how long you want it Typically it's 5 seconds, 10, 20, or 30, I believe. I have mine set on 30. Once you hit save at the bottom, you can go through back to the beginning, go to your inbox. Say I want to compose an email, and we're going to type in my wife's email here. And let's say I type in something and I'm et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and I want to hit send. Hit send, you're going to notice a little yellow pop-up box. If I hit view message, it's going to push it through, it's going to send it. But right now I have my default set on 30 seconds. So if I have this 30-second window, I could hit undo and it'll bring it right back up. So it basically puts it into limbo. And I'll bring it up here in a second. It'll put it into limbo. And if the 30 seconds elapse, then it'll automatically push it through. If it doesn't, it'll bring it right back up for you. I don't know if my internet's acting up tonight, but it should be there in a second. It'll bring it right back up where you could retype it in and put things out. There we go. So if I wanted to now not send it, I could discard it. Or if I wanted to type anything back out and resend it, it'll still give me another 30 seconds. Another trick with Gmail is you could put in here, see attached. So as a teacher, a lot of times we put in attachments, or we send progress reports home, or we do whatever with attachments. If you type the word see attached, you could then hit send. Now I have not attached anything to this. If I hit send, you'll also see you wrote see attached, but there are no files attached. It's Google's way of saying, oops, you forgot to put something in this. So anytime that I know I'm going to attach a Gmail attachment, I always write the word see attached, and then it'll always allow me to put it in case I forget. So again, this is something, just another one of Gmail's tricks that you could put in there, and it'll prevent you from sending a Gmail. So that's something cool. Another a way, if you have multiple Gmail accounts, and in my case, I have probably 3 or 4. I have not only a personal Gmail, I have a school Google Apps for Education Gmail, but I also have a Google Apps for Business Gmail for my own business. And in that case, you could add multiple different accounts. If you go to your picture or your letter, whatever's up here, if you go in here and you hit the word add account, other Google accounts that I have, and I could put them in there pretty easily. So I could add accounts right there, and any other Gmails. I think I have probably 7 different Gmails that I've used. You could add more accounts in there in the picture, and you hit an add account. It'll give you different options, and then you can go back and forth between Gmails if you're using that. More instructions here that you're more than welcome to go through and see that for more details. Importing contacts. You could go into contacts and import those. Now, a lot of school districts, they come with contacts imported, but let's say you wanted to create contacts and all of your students' parents, you have all of their emails. You could literally click on this template, and inside of this template, you could save your own copy, put in there the student's name or the parent's name, the parent's email, the parent's phone number. And if you have their address, you could put that in. But very worst case, if you have just their email and their name and phone number, you could then import this into your contacts. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So let's say I have 30, 40, 50 parents or maybe more. If I am done with this, I could then hit File, Download As. And we're going to mark it as, I think the CSV is probably the easiest, but we will download it as a CSV, comma separated values. It will then download here in just a second. And inside of my Gmail, if I went to Gmail and clicked on the little arrow there, it should give me 3 different options. It'll give me Gmail option. It will give me contacts. That's the one I want. And within contacts, I could import. And once this loads here, I'll show you how to do that. So if you have a list of all your parents' emails and you want to be able to email them as a group, you could go through there and you could say find more. And you could go through a CSV. And in this case, it's going to take me to the old contacts. Google just updated the contacts. Used to have it, they used to look like this, but they just updated the way that they do their contacts. So you could literally add the contacts this way once it takes you there. Okay, so if we wanted to go through here and we wanted to import, you could scroll down on the left and we could go to import contacts and we could choose the file. Bring up by default, you know, the My Documents or the downloads or whatever else. So I could go to my downloads. And I found my email and contacts sheet. I could then import it. It'll be in my John Doe and Jane Doe. It will be in my contacts. And how will we know? We can go back to our Gmail account, send them an email real quick here. So their names were Jane Doe. Let's try to type them out and see if we find them. And obviously I just made those up. But if we type in the word Jane, there's Jane Doe. And if we type in the word John Doe, it's in there somewhere. They've got a lot of Johns. There's John Doe and there's Jane Doe. And they are now in our contacts. So adding contacts is very easy, especially as a teacher if you wanted to have all of your parents in their email contacts. Now, in a later video, I'm going to show you about Google Forms. Google Forms is an easy way to collect those. So you do not have to retype those out for all your parents. At an open house, at a parent-teacher conferences, you could send out this link, tell the parents to fill it out, and you will have a full spreadsheet of all their email addresses. So an easy way to collect that, and there's the form I was talking about. This is just one I've created, but this is what I would send. Parent fills in their name, their phone number, and their home address, and you can add that or delete that if you wanted. You could tell them what class is your son or daughter in, and maybe I'm teaching a math and science class in middle school. They could select all that and hit submit, and it would all go to their spreadsheet. So we'll jump into that a little bit later in one of my videos. Moving on here, some of the other features, you could have desktop notifications. So maybe you don't have your Gmail browser up or your Chrome browser up with Gmail on it. Desktop notifications will put up a little notification in the bottom right-hand corner for every Gmail. You could archive. And one thing I want to show you, because you have unlimited storage, don't delete anything. If you have an email and I wanted to go to this email and I'm going to open it up, I can hit the down arrow and it is archived. That is putting it in a closet, for example. We all have a closet in our house that we might throw a bunch of junk, or we have a room that we put all kinds of stuff in storage. This is like throwing it in that closet. If I wanted to find that, I could go to the labels and I could go to all mail. Just through in there would be there. So again, archiving it only moves it away from the inbox. It'll put them wherever. So for example, this Google email that I have here, I'm going to tag it Google email. I will then archive it with the down arrow, and it will automatically put it in that label that I had it tagged. Where I get a lot of these emails every day. So, but again, archiving it does not delete it. I would suggest not deleting anything only because you have unlimited storage. Viewing ways, conversation view, multiple emails. There's different ways that you could go through and view them. I showed you the unread views a little bit later. You can read more about them in some of the help guides at the end. Some of the other features that you may or may not have in use. So let's say, for example, and let me go back and find I'll move one of these emails to the inbox real quick so we can play around with it. And I'll mark it as unread. And whoops, back to the inbox. Okay, so we're going to put that back in the inbox. Let's say I just got this email. You notice I have a little exclamation point, or at least I did. I could now, by clicking this little star button, I could change it to whatever I want it to be. So for example, mark all tasks that I have completed with a green check mark. It just gives me another way to say, okay, I need to, I've done that one. Or maybe I want to go through and mark with a question mark. Maybe that's something I need to follow up on. It's just another way to symbolize the importance of these things. You could have different stars. Here are all the ones you could have. You could go through and symbolize the importance. So if you have 100 emails in your inbox and you put a bunch of question marks, those may be ones that you have to go through and recheck. So back to the other features, there are some other cool ways you could put a custom signature in there, or your school could set that up. Your tech administrator could set an automatic signature that has your school's logo or other things. In my case, in my signature, my current position as administrator at Odella, but I also have my personal website and the certified trainer and certified administrator tags. So those are things that I could add images in there. I could add links. I add my Twitter logo in there, all the different things that I would be able to put in there. And so when you get an email from me, if you click on the Twitter logo, it'll take you right to Twitter. If you click on the Google certified logo, it'll take you right to my website. So those are things you could add into your custom signature. And by doing that, you would go to Gear, to Settings. Right on the first tab that it defaults to, about 3/4 of the way down, you could put in your signature. And some of the other pieces while we're in here, you could go through and you could put on a vacation reminder. So if you know you're going to be out of the office for 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it may be, you could turn that on and say, I'm going to be out from October 11th. And my last day, maybe I'm going to come back on October 25th. Maybe I'm out for 2 weeks. I could put in a subject. I could put in a text. So if any parent or staff or student emails you, it'll automatically respond to them and say, I'm out of the office. Please contact so-and-so. If you put the last day on there on October 25th, it'll run out at midnight. So if you know when you're coming back, you don't have to worry about returning it off. So again, those vacation responders are good for people to see exactly if you're out of the office, when you're going to be back or who to contact in case. A signature we talked about, and adding a picture in there. I've added my little picture up here on the right. You could do that by putting your little picture in here. You could upload it pretty easily. So you could just hit the change, or in your case, it would say upload picture. Here are the different labels that we looked at through the STARS program. So other things in here about changing the font and changing the text, how many conversations you want to see per page. So you could go through and really play around with a lot of these. Jumping back over here, there are different videos that I've included in this slideshow that give you more basics and more of an overview. You could also see, I believe I put some help guides in here once this goes to the next. Better Cloud is a great place. They give you a lot of great skills and Gmail tricks that every day. So if you sign up for their newsletter, they send one out every single day with new tips and tricks. So I would recommend going and see Better Cloud, and as well as the Gmail Training Center. There's a lot of great tutorials and cheat sheets and things like that on there. So once again, this is my Gmail video. If you have any specific questions, feel free to contact me. I do a lot of work on Twitter. My Gmail is in there as well, or you could visit my website and get some more information on me. So I appreciate everybody who's watched, and I will see you guys in another video down the road.